मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। हज़रात तशरीफ़ रख लें, अभी हम अपने प्रोग्राम शुरू करते हैं। तो मेरी गुजारिश ये होगी कि सबसे पहले हमारे बर्नी कम्युनिटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फोरम के चेयर मालिक अशरफ साहब, जो हमारे हार्ड वर्किंग और जनरस चेयरमैन हैं, और स्पीकर उमेदी पार्लियामेंट, उनको मैं दावत देता हूँ कि वो तशरीफ स्टेज पे ले आए। मालिक मोहम्मद अशरफ साहब। The guest of honor, my brother, friend, Sitara Qaid-e-Azam, Dr. Sajjad Haider Karim Saab, please take a seat on the stage. Our chief guest today is the Councillor of Community Affairs from Consulate of Pakistan, Sajid Qazi Saab. I'll request him to take his seat on the stage as well. Our special guest speaker this afternoon is a rare honor and a privilege, and his rare appearance in public arena. And I'm referring to a well-known barrister, QC and part-time judge of the Crown Courts, Mr. Ahmed Nadeem. I'm also calling on our other guest speakers, Member of Parliament for Pendle, Anne-Marie Stephenson. And of course also our own MP for Burnley, Gordon Bergquist. Vice Chair of Burnley Community Organisations Forum, Manzoor Zaid Zaghmi Saab. Our sister organisation, Burnley and Pendle Friends League, Chair Sagir Ahmed Saab, please come on the stage. And of course, pride of the community, champion for youth development and interfaith work in East Lancashire, Afrasia Banwar. And of course, our colleague and special guest today, colleague on the Burnley Building Bridges, Burnley Fellowship of Faith, Brother Father Hafgood Strickland. And finally, our own legal champion, Barrister Haroon Rashid. Is he here yet? Oh, he hasn't arrived, I think. No? Okay. Finally, of course, our founder chair of Forum, Mr. Subhan Khan. अल्लाह के नाम से शुरू करते हैं। आप कुरानी तिलावत के लिए मेरे बुजुर्ग दोस्त भाई कारी मोहम्मद शेर साहब को मैं दावत देता हूँ कि वो माइक पे आए और कुरानी तिलावत पर करें।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث آمنت بالله صدق الله الخالقنا العظيم
مصطفیٰ کے دیوانے گھر سے جب نکلتے ہیں مصطفیٰ کے دیوانے گھر سے جب نکلتے ہیں رحمتوں کے سائے بھی ساتھ ساتھ چلتے ہیں رحمتوں کے سائے بھی ساتھ ساتھ چلتے ہیں ان کو چاہنے والے کم کبھی نہیں ہوتے ان کو چاہنے والے کم کبھی نہیں ہوتے ایک چراغ بجھتا ہے 100 چراغ جلتے ہیں ایک چراغ بجھتا ہے 100 چراغ جلتے ہیں جب قدم بڑھاتا ہوں جانب مدینہ میں جب قدم بڑھاتا ہوں جانب مدینہ میں ہاتھ سے زمانے کے مجھ سے بچ کے چلتے ہیں ہاتھ سے زمانے کے مجھ سے بچ کے چلتے ہیں یاد مصطفیٰ جب بھی اکثر ہوتی ہے، یاد مصطفیٰ جب بھی اکثر ہوتی ہے، آنسوؤں کی صورت میں آفتاب ڈلتے ہیں، رہنما بدلتے ہیں، راستے بدلتے ہیں، بارش کرم جن پر آسمان سے ہوتی ہے، وہ شجر گلشن میں پھولتے ہیں پھلتے ہیں، وہ شجر گلشن میں پھولتے ہیں پھلتے ہیں، اس جگہ سے گزرے ہیں بے جھجک حضور اعجاز، معتبر فرشتوں کے پر جہاں پہ جلتے ہیں، معتبر فرشتوں کے پر جہاں پہ جلتے ہیں، مصطفیٰ کے دیوانے گھر سے جب نکلتے ہیں۔
بہت خوبصورت. Finally, to request the community of Burnley and Pendle continue to give their support to two of the best MPs that we've ever had in Burnley and Pendle, Gordon Berbizzle and Andrew Stevenson. تو بھائیو اور دوستو، مجھے خوشی ہے کہ برنلی کمیٹی آرگنائزیشنز فورم کی طرف سے اور برنلی پینڈل فرینڈز لیگ کی طرف سے آج آپ کو اس میٹنگ میں خوش آمدید کہتے ہوئے، اور میں امید رکھتا ہوں کہ آج کے جو اسپیکرز ہیں، جو پروسیڈنگز ہیں، یہ آپ انجوائے کریں گے. ہمیں برنلی کمیٹی آرگنائزیشن نے پوکو تکی برنلی پینڈل فرینڈز لیگ کے پوکو تکی اپنا رشوبائی کی یہ میٹنگ میں شاگرد ہو جانا چاہیے. Now, to formally welcome you to this gathering, I want to call upon the Vice Chair of Burnley Community Organizations Forum, former Councillor Manzoor Hussain Zakhmi Sahab, to come forward and say a few words as well on this occasion.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. آج ایک صاحب کردار کی باتیں ہوں گی، آج ایک صاحب کردار کی باتیں ہوں گی، اس کے گفتار کی رفتار کی باتیں ہوں گی، جو جلاتا ہے اندھیروں میں روشنی کے چراغ، روشنی کے اس مینار کی باتیں ہوں گی. جناب صدر محفل ملک محمد اشرف صاحب اور اس محفل کے دولے جناب ڈاکٹر سجاد کریم صاحب اور مانچسٹر سے آئے ہوئے ہمارے نہایتی مہذب مہمان ساجد قاضی صاحب اور جناب ندیم احمد صاحب QUC اور ہمارے فیوچر کیمپی انشاءاللہ گورڈن برٹویسل اور اینڈرو سٹیورسن، برلے اینڈ پینڈل فرینڈ لیگ کے چیئرمین صغیر احمد صاحب، برلے فورم کے بانی چیئرمین فضل سبحان صاحب، فادر پیٹر اور نوجوانوں کی دل کے دھڑکن افراسیاب انور صاحب، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. معزز حضرات، میرے ذمہ صرف دو کام ہیں کہ میں سب سے پہلے آپ کو ویلکم کروں. میں آپ کو ویلکم کرتا ہوں، خوش آمدید کہتا ہوں، جی آئین ہوں، بخیر آوڑے شاگوتم، اور آپ سب کو خوش آمدید. اور دوسرا میرے ذمہ ہے کہ میں برلے کمیونٹی آرگنائزیشن فورم کی طرف سے میں جناب سجاد حیدر کریم کو مبارکباد پیش کروں. سچی بات یہ ہے کہ میں نے بہت سے اپنے دماغ کے کمپیوٹر کو آگے پیچھے کیا، لیکن مجھے وہ آپ کی شان اور جو آپ کو اللہ نے یہ عزت دی ہے اس کے مطابق مجھے کوئی مناسب الفاظ نہیں مل سکے. لیکن میں فارملی آپ کو اور اپنی طرف سے اور برلے کمیونٹی آرگنائزیشن فورم کے تمام اراکین کی طرف سے مبارکباد پیش کرتا ہوں. اور ایک شعر عرض کرتا ہوں، یہ آپ کی نظر کرتا ہوں کہ اگر ہو کوئی قابل تو ہم شانے کہی دیتے ہیں، اگر ہو کوئی قابل تو ہم شانے کہی دیتے ہیں، ڈھونڈنے والوں کو دنیا نہیں بھی دیتے ہیں. اب میرا خیال ہے کہ میں اسی پر اکتفا کرتا ہوں اور میں اپنا مائک اور جناب ذکر علی کو.
Thank you, Zakmi Sir. Next speaker is well known in Birmingham Pandal in the northwest of England as well. He's a great writer, a well-known journalist, freedom fighter for Kashmir, in fact, a champion of Kashmir rise to self-determination. I'm asking Abdullah Said Zaid Saab to come forward and say a few words on this occasion.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Mehmanan garami, بزرگوں دوستوں عزیزوں السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. بزرگ تے تھے کاٹی میں ہی بزرگ لگنا سارے نال اب میں آپ نے آپ کرنا. فورم کی طرف سے آج کی یہ تقریب سجائی گئی قابل تحسین بھی ہے، قابل تعریف بھی ہے، ہمارے لیے قابل فخر بھی ہے. قابل فخر اسی لیے کہ ہمارا ستارہ نارتھ ویسٹ سے جو طلوع ہوا تھا 2004 میں، آج الحمدللہ یورپ میں سیاست کے افق پر چمک رہا ہے انشاءاللہ. اور جو کارہائے نمایاں انہوں نے سر انجام دیے وہ آج سب کے سامنے ہے. اور آج یہ بدلنے والوں کی طرف سے خراج تحسین پیش کرنا ہلکی سی کوشش ہے. میں انہیں خراج تحسین پیش کرتا ہوں. کام کیے جاتے ہیں، ہوتے رہتے ہیں صدیوں سے، ہزاروں سالوں سے کام ہو رہے ہیں. لوگ تعریفیں بھی کرتے ہیں، لوگ کیڑے بھی نکالتے ہیں، سب کچھ ہوتا رہا ہے. لیکن آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کی حدیث ہے کہ پازیٹیو چیز جو مثبت بات ہے اس کی طرف دیکھیے. ہمارے اس نمائندے نے ہمارا سر فخر سے بلند ہی نہیں کیا، بلکہ جو اسے یہ انعام ملا ہے ستارہ ہلال قائد اعظم یا ستارہ قائد اعظم، اس کے پس منظر میں اگر آپ دیکھیں 10 لاکھ لوگوں کو روزگار ملا ہے. باقی سب چیزوں کو اور ان سب کی دعائیں بھی انشاءاللہ ان کے ساتھ ہیں. اور یہ اس میں ہم سب کا حصہ ہے. الحمدللہ ہم نے انہیں سپورٹ کیا، انہیں ووٹ دیے. اللہ تعالیٰ آئندہ بھی ہمیں اچھے لوگوں کو منتخب کرنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائے. سورہ نساء کی آیت نمبر 58 5ویں سپارے میں ہے. پڑھے لکھے موجود ہے اس لیے میں قرآن کی طرف رجوع کر رہا ہوں، جبکہ ہماری عملی زندگی ہی قرآن اور حدیث ہونی چاہیے. لیکن چونکہ 2 پڑھے لکھے علماء یہاں تشریف فرما ہے، آپ سب پڑھے لکھے ہیں، لیکن حدیث اور قرآن کے مطابق یہ 2 زیادہ جانتے ہیں. میں سمجھا مستند لوگ ہیں. آیت نمبر 58 سورہ نساء 5واں پارہ इन्नल्लाह यामुरुकुम अन्ना तुअद्दुल अमानाति इला अहलिहा। बस ये लंबी आयत है, ये पहला टुकड़ा है आयत का। बुखारी शरीफ की हदीस है नंबर 59 अबू हुरैरा रावी है इसके। फरमाते हैं कि आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि अमानतें अदा किया करो। अर्ज़ की कि या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, इससे क्या मुराद है? अमानतें अदा करने से क्या मुराद है? मुफस्सिरीन ने तो बहुत सी तशरीह की, बहुत सी अहादीस आती है, मुख्तलिफ शोबा हयात में मुख्तलिफ तरीके से अमानतों के हवाले से आ रहा है। लेकिन जिस हदीस का मैं जिक्र कर रहा हूँ खुसूसी तौर पर इस हवाले से है कि जो शख्स जिस मनसब का अहल हो तो उसे वोट दोगे, उसे मुंतखब करोगे तो वो अमानत अदा होगी। अगर ना मुंतखब करोगे तो ये खयानत होगी। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमने इस कुरान मजीद की आयत और इस हदीस के मुताबिक अमल किया। इंशाल्लाह आप सबको सर फख्र से बुलंद होना चाहिए और अल्लाह का शुक्र अदा करना चाहिए कि आज हम किसी शर्मिंदगी का शिकार नहीं है। अल्लाह का शुक्र। दूसरी बात, मुज़क्कर भाई ने कहा था कि बंगला में करना बात, मैं आज बंगला में बात नहीं करूंगा। फिर कभी बंगला में आपको बात करके बताऊंगा। वो ऐसे है कि बात ज्यादा आ गई। जनानी शॉपिंग के लिए गई, वापस आई और खान के पास बैठ के कहती है जी ਤੁਹਾਡੇ वास्ते मैं रुमाल लिया, रुमाल का कपड़ा लिया। तो खामन ने खोल के देखा 2-2.5-3 गज। कहना ये तो 2-2.5-3 गज है, रुमाल तो नहीं बनता। उन्हें कहा जेड़ा ਤੁਹਾਡੇ रुमाल तो बचेगा मैं दुपट्टा बना लूंगा। तो इस वास्ते जनाब मैं पश्तो की बंगाली भी सीखागा तो फिर ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ गल करा। जो मैंने अर्ज की, जो मैंने कहा, अब इसका असल जो चीज़ है वो मेरे सामने लाता हूँ। आज तक मुझसे ज़ाहिर है, मैंने पहले कहा कि 2-3 बुजुर्ग ही हैं, बड़ा मैं ही हूँ। 50-60 साल से हम अपनी अमानत में खयानत कर रहे हैं। क्यों कर रहे हैं? जिसका सबूत आपको पिछले 10-15 साल में मिल गया होगा। लाखों लोगों का खून उन लोगों के हाथों पे है, लाखों करोड़ों लोगों का खून उनके हाथों पे है। मुल्कों को तबाह करने वाले वो लोग हैं। इसके बावजूद हम ये कहते हैं जी यही हैं, और फिर ये दावे करते हैं कि फलां मुसलमान कैंडिडेट है। मुसलमान हो, काफिर हो, हिंदू हो, जो भी है, हम इस मुल्क में बसते हैं। जो अच्छा और ईमानदार आदमी है उसे आप वोट दें। ये 2 अशखास इन्होंने काम किया। बंगले में गोल्डन बटविसल ने काम किया है, आप लोग सब इसको तस्लीम करते हैं। पैंडल में ने काम किया है, हम तस्लीम करते हैं इसको। हमें इससे क्या गरज है? ये नहीं मुसलमान तो क्या हुआ? आज हमारा मुल्क, ये हमारा मुल्क है। अगर बंगले तरक्की करेगा, हमारी कम्युनिटी तरक्की करेगी तो मुल्क भी तरक्की करेगा। बुलंदियां जनानियां कर्जा ला ला के मुल्क चलाने वाले लोग कामयाब नहीं होते, मुल्क को कामयाबी से चला नहीं सकते। इसलिए मेरा आपसे ही दरख्वास्त है कि सोच समझ के अपनी अमानत अदा करें, सोच समझ के अपनी अमानत अदा करें। क्योंकि छोटी सी गलती, आपकी छोटी सी गलती आपको 13 साल तक भुगतनी पड़ती है। वादे देखें आप उनके। कोई कश्मीरी यहाँ बैठा हुआ है? कोई है कश्मीरी यहाँ बैठा हुआ? मैं अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कश्मीरी हूँ। है कोई? सारे कश्मीरी नहीं, सारे कश्मीरी होते तो आज कश्मीरी इस हालत में ना होते जिस हालत में पिछले 3-4 दिन से आ रहे हैं। कोई आवाज उठी? अब सब पाकिस्तानी अपने आप को कहते हैं वो कश्मीरी हैं, वो खवातीन हैं, झंडे उठाकर बैठी हैं, पाकिस्तान के झंडे और हिरासत में हैं। और इन लोगों ने जो आज वादे लिए फिरते हम ये कर देंगे वो कर देंगे। 1995 में इन्होंने कश्मीर पॉलिसी दी थी, क्या किया 13 साल में इन्होंने? बताओ, जवाब दो इस बात का। वो लोग जवाब दें, क्या किया इन्होंने? हमें ये दिन देखना पड़ता है, इसलिए कि हम गलत इस्तेमाल करते हैं। अच्छे लोगों को वोट दो, अच्छे लोगों को मुंतखब करो, आप इंशाल्लाह कामयाब होंगे। ये मेरे जहन में रखिए आप बात। शायद किसी को मेरी चीज़ अच्छी ना लगे, इसके अलावा उनको मदद करने वाले सिर्फ ऐसे लोग नहीं है जो जिनका मफाद है। कुछ आप जैसे काजी साहब जैसे लोग भी मौजूद हैं, कौंसल जनरल ऑफिस भी है जो बिलवास्ता इनकी मदद करते हैं। लोग पाकिस्तान में वो कार्ड बनाते हैं ना, घरों में लोग ले जाते हैं उम्मीदवार पर, वहाँ से कार्ड सियासी कार्ड जारी करते हैं। बिलवास्ता तौर पर हमारा कौंसल जनरल भी ऐसे करते हैं, ये लोग भी बिलवास्ता तौर पर कह रहा हूँ मैं, उनकी मदद करते हैं हर लिहाज से। क्यों करते हैं? मलिया लोधी से एक बार बात ब्राइटन में सजाद साहब ये भी थे, मैंने कहा ये ऐसे क्यों करते हो तुम लोग, इसी जमात के साथ क्यों लगे हो? वो जी ये है वैसे है। लेकिन मैंने फिर ये भी कहा कि आपको तारीख याद नहीं है? बंगाल किसने तस्लीम किया था? किसने कराया था? क्लेमेंट एटली ने कराया था। पंजाब किसने तस्लीम किया था? क्लेमेंट एटली ने। आज बंगाल बांग्लादेश बन गया, लेकिन एक होता तो मजबूत तर ना होता, पंजाब एक होता तो मजबूत तर ना होता। किसने किया था? इन लोगों ने किया था, इस पार्टी ने किया था। तारीख को पढ़ो, तारीख को समझो, मेरी यही गुजारिश है। सिर्फ माफी चाहूँगा जरा, मैंने ये कहा था कि मुझे मत बुलाना, मुझे मत बुलाना, लेकिन ये बात नहीं आए। लेकिन चलो अच्छा हो गया कि मुझे बंगाली में इन्होंने नहीं कहा। ये कह रहे थे कि मैं कहूँगा कि बंगाली में तकरीर मेरे लिए मुसीबत बन जाती। बहरहाल मैं ही तुम्हें एक दफा करूँगा, इससे ज़्यादा मैं क्या कहूँ, क्योंकि आप लोग मुझसे सब सियाने हैं, सब चीज़ जानते हैं। तो एक चीज़ आपसे मैं कहता जाऊँ, एक स्याह एक गाँव में गया, उसने पूछा यहाँ को बड़ा आदमी पैदा हुआ है? स्याह पूछता है यहाँ को बड़ा आदमी भी पैदा हुआ है? तो जो आदमी ने कहा ना, यहाँ सब बच्चे पैदा होते हैं। आखिर दावा ना
ये थे अब्दुल्ला जाहिद साहब, champion of Kashmir, champion of Muslims, both in UK and around the world with his journalist contribution to the media. इंशाअल्लाह अब्दुल्ला साहब से आइंदा हम बांग्ला में ही तकरीर सुनेंगे और पुश्तू में सुनेंगे। अगले मीटिंग के लिए तैयारी ले लें, क्योंकि अक्सर हम पंजाबी में आपसे सुनते हैं। तो now invite our next speaker, who is from Nelson, a community activist, a hard community worker, chairman of Burn Pendles Friends League, a dear friend and brother, Sagir Ahmed Saab, to come forward and say a few words on the issues we're discussing today. Sagir Ahmed Saab.
Assalamualaikum. स्टेज पे बैठे तमाम मेहमान गिरामी और पंडाल में बैठे मेरे तमाम अहबाब को महत्वाना सलाम। यहाँ आना, मिल बैठना हम सब के लिए मुबारक हो। एक ही मकसद के लिए हम यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं, वो ये है कि हम जो सजाद हैदर करीम को सतारा कायद-ए-आज़म के एहसास से पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट ने नवाजा है, उसकी सेलिब्रेशन करें और हम सब मिलके सजाद करीम को मुबारकबाद दें। तो आइए हम सब मिलके सजाद हैदर करीम को तालियों की गूंज में मुबारकबाद पेश करते हैं। अल्लाह तबारक ताला जिसको चाहता है उसको इज़्ज़त देता है, जिसको चाहता है उसको बढ़ाता है, जिसको चाहता है उसको कम करता है। किसी को अपने रिज़्क़ पे, किसी को अपनी इज़्ज़त पे, किसी को अपनी सूरत शक्ल पे, किसी को अपने नाज़ो नखरा पे फ़ख्र होता है, मगर फ़ख्र कामयाबी पे जो हो वही असल तकाज़ा है। तो अल्लाह तबारक ताला ने सजाद हैदर करीम को, जो इसने सफ़र 1994 में एक छोटी सी वार्ड ब्राइफील्ड से काउंसलर मुंतखब होकर किया, तो आज हम 2015 में इसको सतारा कायद-ए-आज़म के नवासने पर इकट्ठे हुए हैं कि उसको मुबारकबाद दें। अल्लाह तबारक ताला का एहसान अज़ीम है कि हमने जो 1994 से एक मुख्तसर सफ़र शुरू किया, मुख्तसर सी टीम थी, मुख्तसर से लोग थे, मुख्तसर सी वार्ड थी, मुख्तसर से वोट थे। ये सिर्फ़ और सिर्फ 65 वोट पे कामयाब हुए 1994 में। तो आज अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह तीसरी दफ़ा यूरोपियन पार्लियामेंट के ये मेंबर मुंतखब हुए। हमारे सर जैसे कि अब्दुल्ला साहब ने और मेरे ब्रदर मंजूर ज़ख्मी साहब ने भी कहा कि भी हमारे सर इन्होंने बुलंद किए, फ़ख्र से बुलंद किए, इज़्ज़त से बुलंद किए। अल्लाह तबारक तआला ने इनको बेशुमार इज़्ज़तों से नवाजा है, नेमतों से नवाजा है। लेकिन ये जो एक यूनिक अवार्ड इनको दिया गया है, ये हमारे लिए एक बहुत ही अजीम फ़तह के मुताबिक है, फ़तह के मुतरादिफ है। अल्लाह तबारक तआला इनकी इज़्ज़त में, इनके इल्म में, इनके हिल्म में और इनके काम काज में मज़ीद बरकतें अता फरमाए। मेरा और सजाद करीम का बहुत पुराना रिश्ता है। अगर मैं इन सजाद के बारे कुछ बातें कहूँगा तो वो मुनासिब नहीं होंगी, क्योंकि कहते हैं कि अपने बर्तन को सड़ाना अच्छा नहीं है। बस यही आखिरी अल्फाज हैं। अल्लाह तबारक तआला इसको सेहत और तंदुरुस्ती से नवाजे और हमें इसके साथ चलने की तौफीक जो पहले से दी हुई है अल्लाह तबारक तआला ने, उसमें हमारे पाँव कभी भी लड़खड़ाए नहीं। हम इसकी पुष्ट पे पीछे खड़े रहें। अल्लाह तबारक तआला इसको और कामयाबियों की महराज अता फरमाए। आमीन सुमा आमीन।
याद आ रहा है जब हम बर्नली, नेल्सन, ब्लैकबर्न, प्रेस्टन, बोल्टन, मैनचेस्टर, ओल्डहम, रॉचडेल, यानी थ्रू आउट नॉर्थ वेस्ट ऑफ इंग्लैंड जब हम जाते थे पहली बार सजाद को लेके, और ये कहते थे कि भाई हमें उम्मीद है कि सजाद, और we have full confidence in Sajjad. He is someone who is able and will not let us down, and he hasn't let us down. And this is why we see the day when Pakistan, State of Pakistan, awards him the highest award, honor, Satara-e-Qaid-e-Azam. So we did invite the Consul General of Pakistan, based in Manchester. He sends his apologies here. He has another engagement he had to go to. But we do have the Councillor, Community Affairs, Sajid Qazi Saab with us as our chief guest today. And it is my pleasure to ask him to come to the mic and say a few words on this occasion. Now, Qazi Saab is a great enthusiast of landscape. And if you're not friends with him on the Facebook, make sure you are, because you are missing a lot of good pictures, good photographs. He's also someone who I believe is a great resource for community. Always helpful and goes out of his ways to resolve issues to do with visa and any problems that citizens of Pakistan face here in the UK. I remember one case where I rang him past midnight and said that a case was coming to him in the morning. Well, in fact, it was a Sunday, the office was closed. And do you know what he said to me? He said, go and have a good night's sleep, don't worry about it, the issues will be solved. And it was the person who had a visa problem did get on the plane the next morning and went to Pakistan. I have my greatest pleasure to welcome on the mic to Sajid Qazi Saab. Please say a few words on this occasion.
Zakir Bhai, for these nice words for myself, and I'm very happy to note that you have been following my Facebook page. In fact, today morning I uploaded a couple of pictures which I made during my visit to Newcastle, and there's this beautiful Benmore Castle, Saj Bhai. It's a beautiful castle, and this Northumberland whole coast is probably compares with nothing else in the world in terms of the geological diversity and beautiful castles which are located on that serene and beautiful coast. Anyway, thank you very much for arranging this beautiful event. It gives me great pleasure to be invited here and to share my thoughts with you. while I was listening to some of the speeches and while I was recalling some of the contributions which Brother Saj made and which now have been acknowledged at the highest level in Pakistan, I was thinking in terms of overseas Pakistanis, which, mashallah, everyone knows, are spread across over 100 countries in the world. And they are about 8 million in number. And mashallah, we have great success models in every walk of life. If you go to any country where overseas Pakistanis are living, you will find them excelling in their fields. They are doctors, they are engineers, they are accountants, they are lawyers, they are businessmen, and they are in politics. Whichever field they are, mashallah, they have earned their mark. But the singular honor which Brother Saj has is probably the unique in terms of the 8 million overseas Pakistanis. He's one man who has not only done something remarkable for this country, the United Kingdom, but he has also done his parent country proud by achieving a beautiful balance between two lives which he is living here. One life which he has earned here by sheer hard luck, and the other life in terms of his association with his parent country. Hats off to you, Saj Bhai, for keeping this very subtle balance, and hats off to your parents who have nurtured you and who have nurtured the whole family. I'm proud to be associated with you. I know each and every member of your family, and I have the honor of meeting your parents, your father, and I can assure that if such parents and such efforts are given, we should have more and more such greens in this country and in other countries. And while I am on this topic, I must also acknowledge and I must also highlight the fact that hats off to this country, the United Kingdom, which gives you the even playing field where you can compete with the best in the world and make your mark, where the educational system and the political system and all the social and economic enabling environment is such that a person like you, who has the potential and who has the ability, can rise to the maximum of his abilities. So it's not only a celebration for your singular personal achievements, it's a celebration for diversity of this country, it's a celebration for its tolerance, it's a celebration for how it takes each and every segment of the community living in this beautiful island and make sure that he or she rises to its abilities.
Abdullah साहब, आप तो बांग्ला में नहीं शेयर करती हैं, मैं तुम्हें ज़रूर करूँगा. चीन और अरब हमारा, चीन, चाइना, चीन और अरब हमारा, हिंदुस्तान हमारा, मुस्लिम है हम, सारा जहां. इन अल्फाज से मैं शुरू करता हूं कि नेक्स्ट स्पीकर जो है हमारे चीफ गेस्ट स्पीकर आज के, a rare appearance in public because he's always in the judicial system, in courts. He's a well-known barrister, QC, and a part-time judge in the Northern Circuit and Crown Courts. He's made his mark in the legal profession. He's both defended and prosecuted some of the well-known cases in the northwest of England. He's very much in demand and sought after for his expertise in the legal arena. It is a great pleasure to have him here today to speak about his former colleague, Sitara-e-Qaid-e-Azam, Dr. Sajjad Karim, MEP. We thought he was the right person to speak a little bit about Sajjad. He asked me how long. I think maximum 10 minutes. And he asked me whether I should speak in Urdu, Punjabi, Bengali or English.
No restriction from Pashto
And I said, one of the things that I enjoy of Ahmad Nadeem Sahab is his Queen's English that he speaks. So yes, Queen's English please, and a bit of Punjabi and Urdu as well. Ahmad Nadeem Sahab.
I will start by telling you a story. It is from Arab lands. Many, many centuries ago, there was an Arab trader. He was a multi-millionaire by our standards. And he used to have an empire that spanned the Arab peninsula. And he used to transport goods on camelback from one location to another. And on one of these journeys, he was traveling in the desert, and on a dune he saw a bird, a very bulky bird, a very healthy bird. And he looked around and asked himself this question. The environment is hostile, there is no source of water, there is no source of food. How could it be that this bird is so healthy? He moved a little closer and saw that the bird had one leg. And he again was further puzzled as to how it is that this disabled bird was able to survive in a very hostile environment. Then when the bird flapped, he noticed, in fact, it only had one wing. And he's looking around and asking himself the question, how does this bird feed itself? And as he was pondering over this question, he saw a falcon swoop down towards the bird and put a morsel of food in the bird's mouth. And at that very moment, this trader raised his hands towards the Almighty and said, "Praise be to Allah, for He has promised every creation their sustenance. And here I am witnessing a living demonstration of that promise." But at that moment, he started engaging in a bit of self-reflection. He looked at his caravan consisting of hundreds of camels. He thought about the many millions of pounds that he owned in assets. And then he said to himself, if my maker is able to provide for this bird in this desert hostile environment, why is it that I'm engaged in this labor? He gave instructions to his staff to return to where they came from. And he went back to his town where he lived. And the first thing he did was to sell all his assets. He sold his businesses, sold his palaces, and distributed all the money amongst the poor. And he was very proud of himself that he had practiced this charity. He had saved himself nothing more than a suit that he was wearing. And with that touch of pride, he went to see his spiritual leader, his Peer, and addressed his Peer, and he said, "Congratulations, sir. Many years of your hard work has been paid. I have learned all the lessons that you have taught. I have learned the virtue of charity. I've sold all my businesses, and all I have is the suit that I wear." The Peer looked at him, a little unhappy, a little annoyed. He said, "The Almighty had chosen for you the lifestyle of a falcon. You were meant to be a sustainer and provider for others. But instead you have chosen the lifestyle of that invalid bird. Instead of being a provider, you have decided to be the consumer. The moral of the tale is that success is not a swear word. Moral of the tale is that it is our cultural, religious and human obligation to better ourselves, to apply ourselves, so that not only do we realize our own personal ambitions, but we become a source of betterment for others. And that really leads me to Sajjad Haider Karim. Many, many years ago, I met him as a barrister, and he was my instructing solicitor. And when I came across him, I realized that I was dealing with a very different young man. And he was a different young man whose differences have become evident with the passage of time. The journey from Briarfield to Brussels is marked by certain qualities, those qualities that are evident to all of us. Decency, hard work, sincerity of purpose. But here I'm going to take an opportunity to say what has been said by Brother Sajid Qazi and underline it. Yes, true it is that we owe an obligation to our countries of origin. True it is that we should make an effort to help those countries where we originate from. But the reality is that the best way we position ourselves to help those countries is to work hard in this country, to get involved in the politics of this country, get involved in the life of this country. By achieving what Sajjad Haider Karim has achieved, not has he only earned respect in this country, but at the stroke of a pen, like that falcon I spoke of, he has been a means by which 1 million people have found employment. And that is a message that I address particularly to the youngsters in this room. True it is, again, that there are some problems in this country of ours. But what area, what land can you identify where there are no problems? But let us not dwell on those problems. Let us avail ourselves of the opportunities that we have here. First-class education. Those who apply themselves have the chance of realizing their potential. And the best illustration of all these points is in the following list of achievements that Sajjad has secured for all of us over the past few years. A Legal Affairs Committee spokesperson for entire Europe. People speak of isms, racism, Islamophobia. Those problems may be there to a degree. But if you have the talent, if you have the skill, you will rise above all of those prejudices and give expression to your talent. And he has been able to achieve that for himself and for all of us. He has initiated the Friends of Pakistan group in Brussels. And this is again what Brother Sajid Qazi was saying. He has not forgotten his country of lineage. He is a member of South Caucasus Relations Committee, heads the South Asia Trade Board. But the most impressive achievement of all, you might consider, is the fact that he is the chair of Conduct and Ethics Committee of the parliamentarians in Europe. And in that position, he is able to consider, pass judgment on the quality of performance by other MPs. And that position he has achieved due to the three qualities that I started off with: decency, hard work, and a sincerity of purpose. And armed with those qualities, any youngster who is in this room who has an ambition will not fail in realizing that ambition. In my closing remarks, I say this: Sajjad Haider Karim, you have achieved many things over the past 20-odd years of politics in life. But what you have achieved for us is much more important than the titles might suggest. You have demonstrated what a decent person you are. All of us, without reservation, without any question, are proud to be able to call you as our friend. When we need your help and counsel, you are available to us. Despite the status and the achievements you have secured over the past few years, you have not abandoned humility. You have not abandoned the electorate, some of whom are here, who have contributed to the position that you are in. Our gratitude to you for being the wonderful person that you are. The story has just begun. Yes, you have been decorated by Pakistan with one of the highest awards that that nation is able to offer. But to those of us who know you, we know that that is only a beginning. Allah will reward you with much more success, inshallah, as you continue with the decisions and the journey that you started some 20-odd years ago. So I thank you on behalf of our community and wish you well for the future.
Thank you, Muzakir. Assalamu alaikum. Can I start by thanking the Burnley Community Organisations Forum for bringing together this event today, and the many distinguished guests and many distinguished speakers who I'm very honoured to share a platform with. The reason we are all here today is to, of course, celebrate Dr. Sajjad Karim receiving the highest honour Pakistan can grant to any non-resident of that country. It is, as has been said by a number of speakers, an incredibly rare honour, and it is not bestowed by the country lightly. In addition to having served as the Member of Parliament for Pendle for the past 5 years, it has also been my very great honour during that time in the British Parliament to serve as the chairman of the all-party parliamentary group for Pakistan. And as such, I am very proud today to bring with me the congratulations of our Prime Minister David Cameron, who has praised Dr. Sajjad Karim for his work in strengthening and deepening the ties between the European Union, Britain and Pakistan. I am very proud to count Saj as a mentor and as a friend, and very pleased to pay tribute today to his incredible work. Sajjad typifies what we all want to see in our politicians: honesty, hard work and determination to make real change in the world in which we live. He also hasn't forgotten his roots and regularly helps in resolving local problems here in Burnley and Pendle. None of us politicians, whether it be Gordon Birtwistle, Sajjad or myself, do what we do for awards or personal praise. We do it to make a difference to our communities, to the neighbourhoods we live in, and to Britain and to the world as a whole. And together I feel we are making real progress here in Burnley and Pendle. It has been the greatest honour of my life to represent many people here in this room and the Pendle constituency for the last 5 years as a Member of Parliament. Locally, Gordon Birtwistle and I have worked together on a huge range of projects, whether it be securing the new University Technical College, which has come to Burnley. We've worked closely together on the hospital. Gordon played a leading role, of course, after Labour downgraded our accident and emergency department in 2007. Gordon played a leading role working with myself in securing a new £9 million emergency department, and recently I heard a rumour that he was actually camped outside Danny Alexander's office in order to secure the £15 million that we've just got to completely transform the hospital, overhauling all the surgical units. We've worked together in a way that when Pendle and Burnley were represented by Labour MPs, they never seemed to work together, and even though we are of different parties, we have been able to work on projects together in Burnley, or similarly, Gordon has helped in key projects in Pendle, such as the £30 million regeneration of Briarfield Mill, which we have just secured, which will see the former headquarters of Smith & Nephew, a place where many, many people have worked over the years, many thousands of people have worked over the years, being completely transformed into a new leisure complex and facilities for our young people. In Pendle, we've seen unemployment fall by 50%, we've seen the number of apprenticeships locally double, and this week it was confirmed that since 2010, nationally we've seen over 2 million more jobs created in the private sector, 80% of which have been full-time, and crucially, the fastest growing region in the entire country for employment has been here in the northwest of England. I've also worked very hard to support our local Pakistani and Bangladeshi communities. I've been at the Pakistani High Commission in London, or the Manchester Consulate, to celebrate Pakistan's many successes in improving trade, improving education, celebrating Sajad's work in securing GSP Plus, or the many flag-raising ceremonies for Pakistan Day and other key occasions. But I've also been there to share in your grief, for example after the horrific attacks on the school in Peshawar. Pakistan and Bangladesh are great countries, and I'm proud to have visited both, and very proud to call myself a friend of both Pakistan and Bangladesh. I'm also very proud of the support that the British government has given to both countries via our international aid budgets and the work that Sajad has done at a European level to improve our trading relationships. In just a few days' time, people will start to vote in the general election. The postal ballots will be arriving with many people just later on this week. All I'd like to say is it's been truly humbling, whilst canvassing and whilst going house to house, to meet so many old friends and so many new friends, and to be thanked for the work that I've done working alongside Gordon and working alongside Sajad. Whether it be the work that I've done on Palestine or Gaza, where I've given a speech in the House of Commons calling for the state of Palestine to be recognised and voted that way in the Commons too. Whether it be the work I've done to support our Pakistani Christian community, the work I've done to support Kashmir, the work that I did with the Yousaf family in Nelson after, sadly and tragically, 3 members of that family were brutally murdered when I led a debate in the House of Commons, and over 300 residents from Nelson and Briarfield came down to the House of Commons to listen to that debate. Whether it be the petition that I took from Nelson mosques to present to Parliament, becoming the first MP to present a petition to Parliament following the horrific film The Innocence of Muslims, which inflamed tensions and outraged people across the world. Or whether it be working with the local coroner's service to speed up weekend burials, or simply helping with immigration matters. I could not have done any of this work on behalf of the community without the tireless support of Sajad Karim and Gordon Birtwistle, who have both been absolutely fantastic representatives of this area, and both deserve your ongoing support, now and for many years to come. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mazaka, and salam alaikum to everybody here. And believe me, I'm not as old as he thinks I am. The 70 today is the 50s. I feel 50, like, I know I'm 70, but it's the new 50 is 70, so don't worry, I'll be around for a long time. Inshallah. Could I say I've been here many, many times, and I remember the forum starting up, and I'm delighted, absolutely delighted, to see my good friend Fazal Subhan here, who was one of the first members of the forum when we were ridiculed for even thinking we could have something different than what was already here. There were people that used to run schemes here and forums here, and Mr. Subhan, he said, we need something different than this, and it's a great delight to see you here today, healthy again and with us once more. And I'm really glad that Mr. Subhan can be here. Another thing, I've been here many times and heard many speeches, but I must confess the speech from the QC today was a delight. The Queen's English spoken as it should be spoken. I'm from Lancashire, I don't speak the Queen's English, I speak Lancastrian. Well, this is my town, and this is how I speak, and you are my people, and this is how I behave. And it's really nice on some occasions. It's really nice on some occasions to hear somebody speak who speaks real Queen's English, and I have to say, I'm delighted that you came along to do that. We're here today to celebrate Saj's award, and I've known Saj for many, many years. I remember printing leaflets in the back room of his office in Pendle long time ago, and it was great fun, and those days it was really tough for us to go, and we did well, and I'm delighted that the award he's been given by the people of Pakistan is absolutely well deserved, and I'm proud to have known him for many years, and I'm proud that he's got this on behalf of not just the people in this area, but the people of the UK, because he is a representative of the UK. Even though he's our MEP, he does represent the UK, and he is certainly a leading spokesman for the Pakistani and Asian communities within the UK, and I'm delighted that you've got this award, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. I'd like to thank Andrew for coming along. I know he's got his passport stamped and he has to be out of here for 4:30, also shut the gates. He'll not get back into Pendle. But it's really kind of him to say the things that we've worked on. We have worked together. There isn't a wall between Burnley and Pendle. What is good for Pendle is good for Burnley. And what is good for Burnley is good for Pendle. And why in the past the MPs for Burnley didn't speak to the MP for Pendle, or vice versa, astonished me, because what is good for one spills over into the other. We are busy in Burnley, we are booming in Burnley. Manufacturing is roaring ahead in Burnley. Our unemployment has fallen in Burnley. It's also fallen in Pendle, because people in Pendle work in Burnley. People in Burnley work in Pendle. So any investments we can get between us is beneficial for all of us. So we need to work together. We are one people. We are all the same. The fact that we have a barrier, an imaginary line drawn between our two communities, is only imaginary. It doesn't stop us being friends. It doesn't stop us from being one community. We are one community. We are all the same. Cut my finger, it bleeds red blood. Cut your finger, it bleeds red blood. We are all the same. So why should Andrew not work with me? Why do our opponents have a go at me for even speaking to him? Because he has a different political view. We work together. We may do it differently, but we work together for the benefit of our two communities. Long may that go on. Believe me, we will keep going. We have got our emergency unit back after Kitty Usher cruelly sent it to Blackburn. a lot. I will never let her forget that. And she was supported by the candidate standing against me this time. And I won't let her forget that. Neither will I let her forget the £1,000 she's taken off Tony Blair, blood money that he's got from fighting the war in Iraq. That is outrageous. Now they say I have to say it. It upsets her. Believe me, I will say it time and time and time again. Because Tony Blair should be in front of the should be in front of the war tribunals for what he did in Iraq, and Julie Cooper should have sent that money back to him with a note saying, I don't want your blood money. And I won't let it. As Andrew said, we have got industry going. We've got our A&E unit back. As quite rightly he said, I camped outside Danny Alexander's office for week after week after week until he signed that £16 million so that we could rebuild the Wilson Hay unit at Burnley Hospital to give us the best emergency, best operating theatres, the medical facilities that we deserve in Burnley. Operations are now going to come back to Burnley from Blackburn, where they should never ever have been sent in the first place. So we're going to get them back when they get this new unit finished. So we live together, we work together, we pray together, we hope together, we all have desires together, we're all ambitious together, we all believe that we can do better together. Sarge is an example of what can happen when we work together. I hope and pray that this town and Pendle and the rest of the northwest of England work together, and that we can carry on doing as we have done for many years. But we don't want a division. We want to talk to each other. I want Pendle to boom, and I'm sure Andrew wants Burnley to boom. By doing that, we will all be prosperous, we'll all have jobs, and we will all see for the future, a future community that these young guys here, remember these young guys have got to get jobs to pay our pensions, my pension, his pension, your pensions. We want security, we want prosperity for the guys who kindly stood up for the older gentleman that came in. How often do you see that on a bus these days? My dad said to me, if an old lady gets on a bus when I was a little boy, you stand up. These days they damn well sit down and let the old people stand up. These guys showed respect, and that's what I like to see. My congratulations to these young men who stood up for the older men to let them sit down. I had a seat. If I'd have come in, I'm sure they'd have stood up for me, because they recognised me as an old scrot like Mizaka said I was. So, thanks for everybody coming. This is the biggest event I've ever seen in this room. And it's all because of the main speaker, Sajjad Karim. And my congratulations to him. Thank you.
Pride of Burnley Pendle, pride of northwest of England, pride of Pakistan. Sitara-e-Qaid-e-Azam, Dr. Sajjad Karim, MEP, Sitara-e-Qaid-e-Azam, friend, brother, Sajjad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, Mr. President, fellow parliamentarians, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It's actually very rare that I find myself lost for words, and this genuinely is one of those occasions. But the first thing I wish to say is to the entirety of the United Kingdom कि Burnley और Pendle वाले फिर पहल कर गए. In so many ways. But I speak of this wonderful function today. Since I have arrived back in the United Kingdom, this is the first celebratory event that I am attending, and it is here in Burnley. But actually, this is for the people of Pendle. बोलने वाले आपसे भी पहल कर। And not just here in the United Kingdom. After I received this award in Pakistan, a citizen, Gordon Bergwhistle, a citizen of Burnley, Chaudhry Muhammad Iqbal, travelled specifically from here all the way to Pakistan to be the first to host a celebratory event anywhere. So once again, Burnley has placed itself at the forefront. And what touches me most about that is the fact that this is my home. There are very few politicians in this world who get this sort of love from their own people in the way in which I have been blessed to receive. I value that and I cherish that. And inshallah, I will never, ever forget that. And I accept this award, the Sitara Quaid-e-Azam award, not on my own behalf. I accept that award on behalf of all overseas Pakistanis, wherever in the world they may be. Whether it is in the deserts of the Arab countries, North America, Canada, the entirety of Europe, the United Kingdom, wherever they may be, it is because of their contribution over many, many, many decades that today we are able to celebrate in this room today in this way. And I want that to be recognized and formally acknowledged. And of course it is the Sitara Quaid-e-Azam. The Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah is somebody that I learnt all about from my father as I was growing up. He was, Andrew, the equivalent of a modern-day British Pakistani. And he had the vision to start from here and ultimately deliver the nation of Pakistan. Just to be associated in this way with that level of award is a deeply, deeply humbling experience. And the citation upon which, the basis upon which I have been granted this award, there have been an identification of two things. One is in relation to ensuring that the issue of Kashmir has properly been raised at a European Union level and within our member states. And so many of you here, I think virtually everybody in this room, has known me from my days from well before political activities. But many of you here will recall that immediately after I was elected as a councillor to Pendle Borough Council in 1994, we had a similar celebratory event in Bryfield. And in my speech at that time, I made a solemn promise to my electorate that of all of the issues that I would work upon, at whatever level I was representing them, the issue of Kashmir would always be at the forefront of my human rights activities. And British Pakistanis have always worked to ensure that the people of Kashmir have not been forgotten, and our British Bangladeshi community has been stood shoulder to shoulder with us in making sure that those people are not forgotten. And today, alhamdulillah, we have a collective recognition for that. The other basis that is cited in the citation is in relation to the trading opportunities that we have been able now today to afford to Pakistan under the GSP+. Now, many people are saying Sajjad Karim delivered the GSP+. No, I don't accept that. No. The GSP Plus for Pakistan was delivered to because of the contribution of many, many, many different individuals. Far too many for me to name. Certainly my role was to ensure that we kept bringing all of those contributions together so that we could keep the program moving ahead. One of the people who needs to be recognized for that is Andrew Stevenson. He, as chairman of the relevant parliamentary group on Pakistan, provided the context within Westminster that allowed our Prime Minister to know he had the backing of his MPs to go to Europe, and I witnessed this myself with my own eyes, for him to go to the Council of Europe and to sit with the other leaders of all of the countries and to push for Pakistan's inclusion in the GSP+. And when I knew that I had the support of my own national parliament behind me, and I received the instructions of my Prime Minister that now we have to deliver this, that is when my European Parliament Friends of Pakistan group, MEPs from right across the European Union, we came together and collectively we delivered what is in the national interest of the United Kingdom and a service to my country of origin and a service to humanity which all of us can support. And gentlemen, people like Gordon Birtwistle have always been there and stood with their support when we have needed it on any of these issues. And I'm proud that I can sit on a platform like this with a Conservative Member of Parliament and a Liberal Democrat Member of Parliament, and I can call them both my friends. These two MPs are exemplary. They always look above and beyond their party interests for people's interests. And I'm lucky that I have them here in the northwest of England. And I want for that partnership between these two gentlemen to be maintained. And I will do everything in my power to ensure that that happens. But we can't do that without your support. Now on the GSP Plus, we have with us Sajid Ghazi from the Pakistani consulate today. And Sajid Bhai, I want to put you on notice today. I met with the ambassador of Bangladesh in the European Union a few days ago. And I have given her my word and my absolute promise that in 2021, for the GSP, my priority is Bangladesh. And there's a reason why I have done that. The reason is this. This time round, at the very last minute, we had to pull our support for Bangladesh, at the request of Bangladesh. And the reason was that the international community, there was a risk that we wouldn't get the support because of the Rana Plaza tragedy and all of those people that lost their lives within that. And just this week, in my South Asia Trade Monitoring Board, which I chair, I have given a very, very clear message to European companies who were manufacturing in Bangladesh that I will not allow a single one of them to carry on their trading activities unless every single victim of the Rana Plaza tragedy is compensated in full and immediately. So with that, I put my Pakistani brethren on notice. The next time round, we have to push Bangladesh's case, and I expect Pakistan to be with me in order to help make that happen. It's actually very difficult sitting there to listen to people speak about you in the way that they do. But in the way that my brother Ahmed Nadeem is able to narrate based upon our personal relationship. What is particularly sweet about that is the fact that he is an individual who himself is so well accomplished. He himself is a leading light, not just of our community, but the entire British society. And he is somebody who has been a guiding force for me. He's certainly always been present to provide me with a sense of direction and has always given me the benefit of his experience. And when I hear somebody like Ahmed Nadeem, my dear brother, speak in the way that he did today, of course it is humbling and it is very moving. But he does so with one purpose in mind only, and that is to try, in the way that he has given me direction over many years, to give direction to all of these young people who are in this room today. And I hope you were able to understand the very clear way in which he conveyed his message to you. There are no barriers, there are no glass ceilings. The only thing that will stop you within this brilliant country from achieving your fullest potential is you. Don't allow that to happen. We need you to be as successful as you possibly can, because that is the only way in which our country is going to prosper, and that is the only way in which you can then best serve humanity. I'm sure you have understood that message. And I finish just with one final message. I have been involved in British elections since the age of 7. And this is the most challenging election I have ever participated in. And for the first time, I am genuinely fearful and worried as to what will happen if the mainstream political parties are able to be held ransom by smaller new entrants. And I'm genuinely worried because some of those people who today have the national platform offered to them actually serve in the European Parliament with me, like the leader of UKIP. And I am fearful for the day that somebody like him and people who believe in his message of division and hatred are able to be in powerful positions here at a national stage. And that is why it is absolutely imperative, more than at any other time in the past, that the people of Pendle come and register their support for Andrew, and the people of Burnley come and register their support for Gordon Birtwistle. Now, it's a very difficult thing for a parliamentarian like me to stand here and actually be seen to be supporting a different political party to my own. But I do it for this reason, because there is no political party bigger than the United Kingdom, and that's why we must do this in our areas today.
ये थे हमारे कायदे आज़म डॉक्टर सजाद आदिल करीम साहब. Thank you very much for those words.